Everyone seems to know what a carb load is, but for some reason, people are still getting it wrong time and time again, especially when it comes to the marathon. It is so simple, but it is so easy to get wrong. So that's what today's video is going to be about. I'm going to teach you what to look out for in a carb load, what to prioritize, and what to avoid, because you don't want to train for months to get to the start line of your marathon feeling bloated. You don't want to train for months to then get 30K in and hit the wall, because yes, just as much as fueling matters on the day, it is super important. It actually starts days out beforehand. And that's coming from myself, who's a nutritionist. I've coached over 100 athletes now. I've run multiple marathons, and I've just come off the back of Gold Coast where I ran a 3:19, which was a nice little PB for me. But today, I just want to go through the simple, basic things that you can prioritize for a carb load so that you can nail your next marathon. That's all. So first off, I want to cover one specific thing, and that's the old way versus the new way, because the old way was treating it like a calorie load, just eating everything and anything under the sun, thinking that it's just a free hit to consume so much and just become a competitive eater. That's not what we're about. That's not what we're doing. As opposed to the new way, as to actually calculating it and learning how to readjust your macronutrients throughout the day, reallocating them to your carbohydrates so that you're not overindulging and you're not over consuming throughout the day. So first off, you actually need to calculate how many carbs you need across the 2 days leading into your event. And if you need help with that, I actually have a carb loading calculator in the description, which you can download. It's completely free to use and it will give you your exact numbers. But essentially, a carb load is dictated by a few things: your body weight, your event, and the distance/time it's going to take you to do that event. Typically for a marathon, you want to focus on a 2-day carb load, so 48 hours out from the event. If your run is on a Sunday, you want a carb load on the Friday and the Saturday. That's it. That's your 48 hours. That's the window that you want to prioritize, smashing back all those glorious carbs. And across both days, we want to hit 8 to 10 grams per kilo of body weight in carbohydrates. So if you take that number, for example, and then that spits out 680 grams of carbs per day, depending on your body weight, and you still eat the normal amount of protein that you normally would, and you still eat the same amount of fats that you normally would, you're going to go to bed feeling like a sumo wrestler. You're just going to feel heavy as shit. We don't want that. So that's why it's so important to actually know your number and know how to readjust things on your plate. So once you know how much you should be consuming across those 2 days, it's important to make sure that what you're actually consuming is going to benefit you, because it's super easy to have foods that are slightly higher in fat, slightly higher in fiber, and slightly higher in protein, which all three of those things slow down digestion and can cause some stomach discomfort on the day, which is what we don't want. We want to avoid all and any stomach issues. So some of my favorites that are even really good on the go, because I know in the days leading up to it, you might be walking around, going to get your bib and all that kind of stuff. So some of my favorite things, and probably my most favorite, is just rice. I will eat so much rice. I'll have it obviously lunch and dinner, but the volume is quite large, quite enormous. Throughout the day, I'll also probably have a bagel, potentially. I'll eat a lot of rice cakes, so I'll probably eat this whole packet of rice cakes. I'll eat a ton of bananas. I typically would probably have like 5 or 6 bananas during a carb load. Dates, these are really good because they are low volume but high calorie, but the only trade-off is they're slightly higher in fiber, which can make you poo, make you have some stomach issues, but not too drastically. So they're just good to get the volume up, the number up. Dried mango is another one of my favorites. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, I'll have some rice bubbles, purely because it's just rice. So as you can see there's like 3 different variations of rice, and that's probably what I would consume on the solid side of things. But one of the easiest ways to increase the volume and the amount of carbohydrates that you're having throughout the day without feeling too full is having things like honey. Honey, maple syrup is also a good option, but liquid options as well. So coconut water is good. You can have juice as well, or sports drinks. These are all higher in carbohydrates, but they're not going to make you feel really full. So prioritizing simple carbs and complexy carbs like this really helps you get to that number without feeling like you're just going to be rolling out the door. The other thing when it does come to food, some people don't like ultra processed foods, some people do like ultra processed foods. Myself personally, I'm not massive on them. I don't eat lollies or anything like that, but again, they're very easy to increase the amount of volume of carbohydrates that you're going to have without feeling too full. So they can be utilized as a tool, but I like rice for me. So rice is typically my go-to. In my last carb load for Gold Coast, I had rice cakes, sushi, chicken and rice bubbles, and bananas and coconut water. That was all I had throughout the 2 days, and I felt fine. So that's the food side of things. There's so many other options you can use, but these are the ones that I find work best for myself and for my clients. But there is one thing that is often forgotten about, because our main priority is obviously getting in the amount of carbs. But the only issue with that is that hydration is often neglected. So it is extremely important to make sure that you're hydrating properly in those 2 days of your carb load. One, and the main reason, is so that your body can actually hold and absorb the carbohydrates. So I want you to think of your body like rice. So this rice here, before it was in this packet and it was a grain, it was a dry piece of rice, they would have had to put it in a big pot, dry, with some water. The rice then takes on the water, so then it can cook. Your body is essentially the same. So for 1 gram of carbohydrates, your body stores 3 grams of water. So you want to make sure that you are adequately hydrating throughout the day so that you can actually store that carbohydrate and turn it into energy without feeling extremely sluggish and bloated and potentially underfueled come race day morning. So the easiest thing you can do is just carry around a bottle with you. Yes, you might think this is overkill, but this is just my daily bottle. 2 liters in here and consistently drinking it through the day. So for you, your benchmark and what you should aim for is around 45 to 50 mil of fluid per day per kilo of body weight during that carb load. And that's what's actually going to help you store that carbohydrate and then utilize it for energy come race day. And finally, you want to make sure that you're eating early and often. So you want your first meal to be quite early throughout the day. Continue hydrating as well periodically. Make sure you carry that bottle with you and just take some easy snacks like the bananas, like the dried mango. This is easy for like when you're on the go, because I know you're probably moving around. And finally, you want to have your dinner reasonably early, so that at least it gives yourself some time to digest before you go to bed, and so you can have a half decent night's sleep. I don't know who's ever had a really good sleep before a marathon, but it definitely makes it easier the earlier you have it. So aim to have your dinner around 5:30 to 6 o'clock at night. Get to bed around 8 p.m. because you're going to be up nice and early. So that's it from me today, a nice short and sharp one. Hopefully you got some value from it. There's some links in the description for other freebies and my coaching and all that kind of stuff. So have at it, and I'll see you on the next one.